Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on Gadgets, the Internet, and You. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by a man who tonight we're going to inaugurate into the official office of podcast co-host. It's Colby Rabadoo. Good evening, Colby.
It's me.
That's your famous catchphrase. It's a me, Colby.
Yeah. Didn't they make a movie out of about Mario?
They did. They made the animated one and then the live action one back in the 80s, 90s.
Oh yeah. What was the one? Wasn't Chris Pratt in one of them?
He voiced Mario for whatever reason.
He didn't seem that Italian.
Well, that's what's strange about Chris Pratt, and I'm going to look up every voice, because his voice acting filmography is absolutely crazy, because he voiced the main guy in the Lego movie, which I think is fine.
Oh.
He did a good job with that.
Yeah.
But he voiced Mario, but he also voiced Garfield in the Garfield movie.
Guy's all over the place.
Yeah. I'm like, Garfield?
Wow. Why there's so many Lego movies he was in?
There were a lot, and a lot of spin-offs, and I didn't even realize there was a second one, but I guess so. I mean, this man works. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, wild. What was he? Oh, was Parks and Rec the first thing he was famous for?
Famous for, I would say, probably. I mean, he was in other stuff before that,
right?
But that was really his quote unquote big break.
Nice.
Did a few recurrings before that, but he was in Wanted.
Really?
Apparently. A movie I remember both of us watched and were confused by.
Sean, they're curving the bullets.
I was so it was woven into the tapestry. I mean, that was like
oh yeah, the loom.
It was like good to look at and the most confusing plot of any movie I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, look, he wasn't Wanted. I remember. Like I remember, he was like the guy's douchey friend or something.
Oh, was he?
Before like a douchey boss.
Yeah, before he got all badass and kicked his ass. Is he the one who gets smacked with the keyboard and then the keys in slow motion spell out some kind of insult?
Yes, and like his teeth fall out or something.
Yes. Awesome. Colby, it is we got some snow. We were talking about this a little bit before we went on air. We got some snow. I don't know how much you guys got out there in the big city.
We got like 4 or 5 inches. We cleaned off the car this morning, and it was like we needed to clean it off.
Yeah, it was about the same here. Very frustrating. I hadn't gotten out my snowblower yet all year, and everyone said, "Oh, this is the storm." So I take it out. I put oil in it. I put gas in it. I try and start it. It won't start. I wait a while. I eventually get it to start. I get it all set up. I go out this morning, and it's like 4 inches very light snow. I just shoveled the whole damn thing. So it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. So I have a fully prepped snowblower I haven't used. I'm probably not going to use it. I'm going to have to burn off the gas. Very inconsiderate. If you're going to snow, you know?
I get it done. Very
annoying.
That's pretty annoying. I've never had a snowblower.
I wouldn't recommend it. I would not a fun piece of equipment to own.
Have you ever gotten to use it in earnest?
Oh yeah. Well, it used to snow, you remember, years ago.
It's like
we lived
sort
in a colder planet. Yeah, no, I did. And it's great. I have a little like mini, like it's like the smallest gas one you can buy.
Sure.
And I like it. But it can't do like more than a foot. Like then the snow's higher than the snowblower, and it's a problem.
Oh, sure.
But it works pretty well. It's just I use it last year. I used it only once. And this year I haven't used it yet, and we're already mid-January. So it's at least a lawnmower you like have to use every week. You use it all the time, but a snowblower is like an optional piece of equipment dependent on the weather. It's like an expensive umbrella. I don't want to own one.
Right. And like, I guess like you could choose not to own a snowblower and you would be fine. You just have to shovel, which would be annoying.
Well, but the other thing too is like I'm annoyed now because at my last house I had a sidewalk, like a public sidewalk, like through my yard. So I was responsible for keeping it clean. So I had a public duty to clear the snow. At my house now, I'm the only car in the driveway, and if I don't want to go anywhere, I don't have to clean my driveway. It's my house, god damn it. Although the delivery people don't deliver my packages, but that's my choice. I have the choice to not snowblow. So you're right. I don't
not get your packages.
And
did they not deliver them at all, or
no,
did they just like throw them on the side of the road?
No. See, this is one of those moments where I talk a big game. I always clear the snow. I've never not. I mean, if there's like an inch, but I've never not cleared the snow. I couldn't do that to them because I got a bit of a walk up. But my other problem is, and you've been to my house, my shed's in my backyard. I don't have like a garage. Sure. So I either have to bring it out the night before and it sits in my driveway overnight, or I have to drag it through the snow after. I mean, my life is just terrible, Colby. This global warming can't come fast enough.
Oh, man. Well, you heard it here. Bring it on, said Sean.
Something like that. Well, it was funny because the last time I saw this much snow was when I was with you in Boston. We had a bit of a small dumping down there, and I hadn't. That was probably the first time I've ever driven in a city in snow. And it was an extraordinarily poor performance. I did not care for it. Mainly because everyone is a moron. I don't know where I'm going. And you can't see any road indications anywhere to understand where you're going.
I don't spend a lot of time driving here, and this honestly is the first year that it has snowed since any meaningful amount since we've had a car. But I did see, I feel like on the internet, people complaining that like it felt like the city like forgot what to do when it was snowing. So it's like, it snowed in it. Like it did snow pretty hard, like when you were arriving, but it also felt like, Public Works or whoever is responsible for that, like was a little bit slow on or maybe the storm was surprising. I don't quite remember. But in any case, they were we were all caught unawares by that one. So it was extra fun.
I think it's one of those 2025 US government things where governments realize like, oh, we just don't like have to do it. Like, what are they going to do if we don't plow? Like, let's just not do it. Because they just don't plow my street. They plow other streets. They just don't plow mine, despite it being a totally normal street. Which is annoying.
We're in St. Paul, where Laura's parents live. They'll go over like their street like once or twice, and then they run out of money for snow plowing. But like it's Minnesota, so it's snowing all the time, and they run out of money to plow the streets like by December, and so they only plow the main road, and everyone's like side street has like 6 inches of snow on it at all times.
Well, there was a great video going around this week of a press conference from Houston, which I guess is getting like 2 or 3 inches of snow. Nice. Obviously extremely unusual. And it was like the mayor or whoever was giving like a preparedness press conference. And the press was like, well, when are the snow plows going out? And she's like, we don't have snow plows. We're Houston. And the press is like, but why don't you have snow plows? It's going to snow. And they're like, it's Houston. And they like kept like trying to get different angles of like, oh, you fucked up because you don't have snowplows. And she's like, it's Houston. Like, and she's like, well, we're doing everything we can to be prepared. And they're like, but where's the snow gonna go? And she's like, I don't know. It was very funny. Clearly not prepared.
Yeah. It's Houston. That's funny. It's weird. It's weird. We've had like a real winter this winter. Like it snowed some. It's been cold all the time. Every day in, day out.
Well, that's one of the other things I forgot about. I try to avoid going to Boston in the winter. You kind of made me. But I'd much rather go in the summer when it's nice. But I forget the winter. It is breezy. It is a breezy town being on the water. I am not used to that.
Yeah, it's the weird thing is like it's not breezy everywhere. Like right outside my house, it's not really breezy.
Right.
But then you like there's like I think it's the tall buildings or something. You get these like weird like wind tunnels. So you'll like walk around a corner, not having any wind on you at all, and you walk around a corner and get like blown into the intersection because it's like gusting 30 miles an hour or something crazy.
Well, that's what's
it's annoying
nuts about Boston because, like in New York City, it's like it's all tall buildings. So it's not like there's gaps. But in Boston, it's like a wide range. So it'll be a bunch of tall buildings and then short buildings and tall buildings. And so, yeah, it's a wild inconsistency.
Yep. I know it.
That's why it's the greatest city in America. God damn it. Well, Colby, maybe this is a good time, unless we have more banter, because I think this is a great segue into tonight's activity.
Let's do it.
So I have crafted a Colby-specific activity for tonight. Now, Colby, I think
Dan.
There are many well, maybe we'll do a Dan activity next time you're not. I don't know. But there are many things, Colby, that people know about you, that you're famous for, right? A great head of hair, red basketball shorts.
Kind of an asshole.
A taste of fine cocktails. But maybe the most notable thing about you is that you are tried and true through and through a New Englander. Born and raised in Rhode Island, has lived in Boston for a long time. When I think New England, Colby comes to mind. With that, tonight I have written a custom. You're familiar with tier rankings. I find these a very fascinating mechanic.
I listen to Upper Debate.
Yes. Well, we've only ever done one, which is very funny. I keep trying to get Matt to do more, and he won't do them. But
really, I assumed you've done dozens of them. But
no, we just did one, and it was a ton of fun. I just think we haven't figured out the subject. So I have actually selected 17 items from New England things. And you're going to help me. We're going to work together to tier rank some New England things. Do you think you're up for the task?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to send the screen here so you can see it, as well as the folks watching YouTube at home. Let me know. Can you see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And I'm going to narrate as well for the audio folks. So we've got a tier ranking here. We've got 5 levels. All right. Your S tier is wicked awesome. Beneath that, this friggin' guy. Then, beneath that, Chowderhead. And then the worst you can be, Old England. And so these are in no particular order, Colby, and I have selected all of these. It was actually hard. I was like, oh, it can't be that hard to think of New England things. Actually, it was harder than I thought. But we've got 17 here. I think that'll definitely get us through the hour. And these are no particular order. The first one up is CVS. Started in Rhode Island, a New England brand, iconic, if you will, in the Northeast, one of our favorite corporations. Any early indications where CVS belongs on this list?
That's a good question. My inclination is like a middle of the road ranking. CVS is fine, but does it really distinguish itself from Walgreens? It's hard to say.
That's a good question. But I feel like old CVS was better, although most things were better before.
Yeah. One thing I don't like about CVS, I've been having a lifelong feud with CVS where they like really want me to get a CVS card and I refuse.
You still don't have a Caremark card?
No.
But what about all your points?
I don't have any points. I guess I don't know. The other thing that really bothers me about CVS is the length of the receipts. The receipts with all the coupons.
Huge miss. Very bad.
It just feels so bad. Like it starts printing and it prints, the length of a normal receipt, and then it keeps going. It's like, oh my God, this is such a long receipt. And it's usually like when you start thinking that it's not even half done yet, it's still printing. It feels very wasteful to me.
And the worst part is all the coupons on the receipt, A, are loaded on your care card. And so you could just redeem them that way. You don't need the receipt. And two, have you ever looked? They're bad coupons. It's like $2 off allergy medicine. I don't have allergies. And CVS knows everything about my medical history. They would know that.
Right.
It's not a hard thing to figure out. I think CVS is kind of a chowderhead.
Yeah. The more we talk about the receipts, the more I agree with that.
All right, we got our first ranking. CVS, you're a chowderhead. You heard me right. Next up, we've got another Rhode Island staple. It's Dell's Lemonade. Colby doesn't seem convinced.
No, I love Dell's Lemonade. Though the picture you chose of Dell's Lemonade is not the good variety. Is not what it's for. Well, Dell's Lemonade is like frozen lemonade, right? And they do have you can get a lemonade flavored beverage that has the logo on it at a store sometimes. But really you want it's like a wax cup of frozen lemonade that you get from a truck on the side of the road.
So have you ever had a glass bottle of Dell's Lemonade?
No, honestly. I have seen them though.
It's good. I've probably drank it more out of the bottle than I have frozen. It's actually very good in the bottle, but I got to get some frozen.
Nice. Yeah, no. I mean the problem with it's not a problem, but you can really only get Dell's Lemonade in Rhode Island. It is a Rhode Island company. They do have it at Fenway Park now. So if we go to a Red Sox game, there are stands where you can get Dell's Lemonade.
You can get it at the Big E as well if you come out to Springfield. They have it at the Rhode Island House. Yeah, I think Dell's is great, but is it wicked awesome great or this frigging guy great?
I think it's wicked awesome great, but it is maybe it loses a couple of points for being not widely available. So maybe this frigging guy. What do you think?
I kind of like that it's not widely available. I mean, this is New England things.
Makes it better, sure.
This is this is all meant to be kind of local. Some of these not as much, but I think the fact that this maybe of everything, maybe we'll get to coffee milk later, but I love how regional it is. I think it should be wicked awesome because it is New England.
All right, done.
Now, speaking of things you can find everywhere, Moose, Colby. Moose, a New England staple, more northern New England, up in Maine and New Hampshire and those parts of the country. That's where you'll find pretty much all the moose in America. But what are your opinions on moose, pro or con?
I've never met a moose, nor given a moose a muffin.
No.
What about you? Do they have moose in Western Mass?
They do in when you get into kind of the super mountains, you'll see one or two once in a while, but no, not really. I've seen one run in front of a car I was in, but mostly at a zoo or something like that. I mean, they seem they're big, obviously. They're quite big. They seem kind of chill for the most part.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I think they're fine. I mean, do we kind of just put them in the middle? I don't know that they're really pulling me one way or the other.
I think that's where this is headed.
You think it's a little bit of an eh? Maybe that's the Canadian moose, eh?
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
Well, you know this one well, Colby. It's got to be Fenway Park. It's got to be. And mind you, now listen, this is your neighbor here. So your opinion's going to hold a lot of weight, and the neighborhood's going to hear about it. So be careful what you say.
That's true. They're gonna know. I mean, I think Fenway Park is great. As we already talked about, you can get a Dell's lemonade there. It's possibly the only place in Massachusetts you can get one, except for the Big E. The thing about living next to it is that you're not always having fun when Fenway Park is having fun. So I think for me, I think I think this one is actually a this freaking guy, because while it's great, it's kind of annoying sometimes. Especially the concerts. The concerts are the worst part.
Yeah.
They put too many people in there and the neighborhood can't handle it.
It's not conveniently located.
It's conveniently located for me.
Sure, for the handful of people who live in the Fenway neighborhood, yes, it is very convenient. I agree. But for the rest of us, it's not particularly. I love arenas and ballparks that are like in the city. This one is like 2 in the city.
Yeah.
And I've only been a couple times. I find it perfectly fine. It's not the worst place I've seen a baseball game. It's not the best place. I think the architectural charm thing is overblown. To be totally honest, I think it's not that I think they need a big new one. I just think like don't act like it's incredible because it's old. It's just old.
It is old.
And
have you ever been in like I think it's like the grandstands, the seats which are they're on like the first level, but they're up like under the overhang. And like some of those seats, like there are poles, and they hadn't, when they built Fenway Park, they hadn't discovered the technology to like not have poles or like, angle them such that no one had to really sit behind them. So like there are seats that are fully behind a pole. Like it's like the seat and the person in front of you is a huge
well, that's charming.
Right.
Cute. Have fun. Yeah, I will say, I think this friggin' guy is fine. I'm fine with that. I think it qualifies. And by the way, Colby, I'm sure, because you obviously, it's local news for you, they're building the women's soccer stadium there in Boston. They're renovating, I forget the name of it.
Yeah. It's been in the news because people are upset that they're knocking down the thing that's there, and I've never seen the thing.
The usual traffic and parking. But I was going to say, Colby, we got to go to a women's soccer game.
That sounds fun. The women's soccer segment of the Olympics, the most recent Olympics, was very entertaining.
And I think the men's World Cup is here. I don't think the women's World Cup is, but the men's World Cup will be played in, and some games at Gillette. So
nice.
All right, let's continue on. Absolutely a New England dessert tradition, the whoopie pie. Now, obviously, come in a lot of flavors and variety. Your classic chocolate is kind of the way to go, but I think this is super New Englandy. What are your thoughts on whoopie pies?
I didn't know that these were a regionalism. I just assumed everyone had whoopie pies.
I tried to put in whoopie pie, but it gave me Whoopi Goldberg. Maybe it's here you go. While widely considered a New England classic and a Pennsylvania Amish tradition, whoopie pies are increasingly sold throughout the United States. It's the official state treat of Maine.
There you go.
And the world's largest whoopie pie was created in South Portland, Maine, weighing in at 1,062 pounds.
Whoopie.
Yes, it originated in New England.
Now, maybe it's because I haven't had enough whoopie pies, but I feel like the typical experience of eating a whoopie pie is like, this tastes good, followed by a like immediately like, why is this cake so dry?
It's
the chocolate cake
dry.
is so dry.
Same thing. It's a desert dessert.
Right. It's like it's inexplicable. It's like the driest chocolate cake you've ever eaten.
And it looks moist. I think that's and it looks with the filling. You're like, oh, the filling will be
Right.
creamy and it's thick.
And it looks extra, and like there's like the outside of them always looks like wet almost.
Yep.
But then you bite in, it's like.
But here's the thing about whoopie pies, though. This is true of a lot of baked goods and some of the other things you'll see on this list. Is the majority of people don't make it well. There's a lot of bad whoopie pies out there, but man, when you get a really good bakery, this is all we do whoopie pie, I will say that's really special. And I also think, and this might be a controversial opinion, I think the chocolate ones are the worst, and there are lots of other great flavors of whoopie pie, and I think people are settling for the chocolate because those are the dry ones. I'll tell you, we have. I'll shout out Joey's in Agawam, Mass. They're known for they actually make a whoopie pie cake, Colby. I gotta send you a picture of this thing. It's like the size of a birthday cake, round, but it's a whoopie pie. The whole thing, it's a big whoopie pie. It's crazy. But they do like they do a bunch of flavors. My favorite, they do an apple cider one, where it's got the sugar on the outside, apple cider. It's so good. The chocolate ones just bum me out. But I like the concept of the cakes with the frosting in the middle. I guess that's kind of what you're buying with the whoopie pie, right?
Yeah, it's like an inside-out cupcake, kind of.
Yeah. But then again, does the consistent mediocrity of most of them drag it down? What do you think?
I think it might drag it down a teensy bit.
Okay. Listen, I set it up at the beginning. You're Mr. New England, so your opinion counts.
Senor New England. I just can't, like, I want to, like, maybe this is on me for not having sought out a good whoopie pie, but like, it just feels pretty to me. I think that's everyone I've had has been.
I think that's totally reasonable because I've had really bad ones and I've had really good ones. I think it belongs in the middle. There's no shame in that.
Yeah, I do want to try this whoopie pie emporium you're talking about, though.
You know what? I'll see if I can get some out to you because they do and they do them all year round. They do a great job. We'll have to find. If anyone knows the best whoopie pie in Boston, let us know. Colby, he'll give it a taste.
Definitely.
All right. Next on the list, the General Store. If you've been in any small town in New England, especially a touristy one, there is some kind of a general store, small town store. These days caters more to tourists, but historically sold actual staples to real people.
These always make me think of Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel is the like heavily commercialized version. Yes, for sure.
Right.
The bastardization.
Capitalism ruined it.
The Disneyland of general stores.
Yeah. I think, Sean, I think you might disagree with me, but I don't know. I think these are general stores are like Chowderhead, bordering on
bad.
Old New England.
Bad. They're
like,
bad.
Terrible.
No, they suck, and they really don't serve a purpose, and they're kind of like they're like hollow. They just are filled with crap, and you just kind of walk around and then leave. And I don't know how any of them stay in business.
Right.
I'm tempted to put it in. We haven't put anything in Old England yet.
I think we should put it in Old England.
All right. It is very Old England, by the way, to have the general store. So it's back where it belongs, in the old country.
Exactly. Past its prime.
Well, you know this next one very well. You introduced me to it, a true Rhode Island staple, coffee milk.
I feel like as a Rhode Islander, I might be a teensy bit biased. Like, what is your take on coffee milk?
Well, I've only ever had it once. We clearly didn't have it around enough. And I thought it was good. It didn't like blow me away, but I didn't dislike it. But to me, it's and of course, I'm reading here. 19th century Providence, Rhode Island, came across with Italian immigrants. Included drinking sweetened coffee with milk, and then it became common in diners and soda fountains in the early 20th century. The first coffee syrup is thought to have been created by a soda fountain operator who sweetened leftover coffee grounds with milk and sugar to create a syrup and then mixed it into glasses of milk. The problem I have with coffee milk is it feels like, obviously there's a million ways to drink coffee. And it just seems to me like it's not a good enough standalone beverage to wow me over the 8 million other ways to get a similar flavor.
True.
But I guess if it was like a novelty or like that's different, it's good. I just don't know if it's like, I'm at a I'm at Starbucks and they have a coffee milk on the menu. I'm probably not going to order it. But I don't know. I mean, listen, is this a beloved treat for you? Just like Mummy used to make?
It's kind of weird because like it's not in my mind. It's not, despite the name, it is not analogous to coffee. Like you would never have a coffee milk in lieu of a coffee because like there's no caffeine. It's just like it's more like chocolate milk with Hershey syrup in it, right? Like that's the category of food. And like at school we'd get the cartons of milk and there was like regular milk and chocolate milk and coffee milk was one of the options at school.
Now that's cool.
It's
and I like coffee ice cream, by the way, a lot.
Honestly, like I feel like coffee milk is basically melted coffee ice cream. Like if you wanted to have the experience of drinking coffee milk, what you could do is leave a pint of coffee ice cream out on the table and drink it.
Well, there's the coffee cabinet, by the way, which is the coffee ice cream, coffee syrup, and milk in a milkshake.
Sure, that makes sense. I think that's kind of calling milkshakes cabinets is kind of a Rhode Island thing too, if I recall correctly. I feel like that one's like kind of super old timey. All that is to say though, like, I often have a thing of coffee syrup in my fridge and I never drink it. It's
good
not
in theory.
Bad. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's like I'm an adult. Like I'm not drinking chocolate milk either because I'm an adult. I can drink actual coffee. I think it might be or even Chowderhead maybe. I like I like it as a thing. Like it's fun to tell people about because they're confused. But I don't actually like drinking it.
And that's my struggle is like I lean towards but I'm like I like mousses and whoopie pies more than I like coffee milk. But do I like it as much as I like CVS? I'm not sure.
That's true. Like I definitely I dislike CVS more than I dislike coffee milk. But like, do I like CVS? I don't know. I'll leave it to you, Sean.
I'm going to put an F for now. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think you have to objectively be bad to get into the bottom two categories.
Fair.
I think that is reasonable. Okay. Next up, covered bridges. I'm not kidding. It was hard to come up with these New England things. If anyone has suggestions for more, please let us know and we'll come back and add more. But covered bridges, obviously you see them on many back roads, really all across the country. But they are, I believe, more common in New England. Actually, maybe that's not true now that I think about it. I might have totally blown this one. There are about 14,000 covered bridges in the United States. The longest one is in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. That's not helpful. As of 2004, there are about 750 left, mostly in eastern and northern states.
There you go. That's us. I I'm pretty sure I've been like over a covered bridge or two, but like I don't get it. Like, what's the deal? Like, why?
Even Wikipedia will not tell me why. Is it for structural reasons? Is it for
Just keeps the snow off, maybe?
yeah, it says to protect the wooden structural members from the weather.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Like, because the bottom is usually made of wood too, right?
Uncovered wooden bridges typically have a lifespan of only 20 years, but a covered bridge can last over 100.
Oh, there you go. Well, I guess that makes sense then. Yeah, because if the bottom's made of wood, then it's like a house. It's like you have walls and a roof on your house. Why wouldn't you have walls and a roof on your bridge?
Yeah, but
All
there's
right.
only very few of them left.
Hmm.
I think they're kind of lame.
I think they're pretty lame too.
But are they Old England lame?
I think they might be old England.
They go with the general store.
I don't dislike them, but they're just so lame.
They're lame. Yeah, they're bad and they fall apart. They're not great. All right,
right.
I think that's an easy slam dunk. We're in agreement. Now this is going to be a tough one. I think fall foliage, maybe the most New England thing on the entire list. Definitely up there. Beautiful changing colors of the leaves.
Now, why is it so New England? Like, does this not happen other places?
Yeah.
But like, why? Other places have winter.
But not as cold a winter. I think it's the cold that makes them really change. And also I think it's the types of trees. I don't think they have the same types of trees.
Got it. Well, I mean, I do like it. It's nice.
Yeah, but then you got leaves everywhere, and then the trees are barren all winter, which is kind of sad.
That's true. That's the mode we're in right now. I mean, you would know more than me the burden created by the leaves.
I did more or less 50 5-gallon paper bags full of leaves in my yard, which has no trees in it, mind you. My neighbors have trees.
Jeez.
But I love looking at it. You go up the pike, take it up into the Berkshires, man. You just get but the thing is, it's also only good for such a short period of time. There's like 2 weeks where it's good. Otherwise, it's just kind of boring.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Well, what do you think? Do you think it's boring, or do you think it's redeems itself enough to be this friggin' guy?
You can do the final call, but again, I kind of do this comparison. Like, I like it more than I like Moose or Whoopie Pies or Coffee Milk. Probably about as much as I like Fenway Park.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All
Definitely
right,
like it more than Moose.
It's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Now we got another classic New England food item. Why it would be, of course, the Boston cream pie.
Now, Sean, I don't know if you know this about me, but for much of my life, like the first, until I went away to Marist, the Boston cream pie was the official cake of my birthday. Like that is what.
Let's go.
My mom would make a Boston cream pie for my birthday and put candles in it.
That is so good, man. I love that.
Yeah. So
now I do have to ask: have you ever gone to the Parker House Hotel and had the original?
I haven't, which is stupid because it's like 10 minutes away.
I will tell you, I actually did a work conference there at that hotel, and they had the Boston cream pie.
Was it good?
It was good, not the best I've ever had, but up there. I mean, it was definitely pretty darn good.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, incredible. And by the way, I will also say the Boston cream donut is the official donut of Massachusetts. The best donut at Dunkin' Donuts.
Fact. That is a
and
fact.
pretty incredible. Yeah, Boston cream pie is great. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say. I mean, I guess it's kind of, I don't want to say plain because there is flavor in there, but it's not like it's, you're not getting wild with Boston cream pie, but I also think
No.
it's unexpected because you just don't see it as much. Like, what a treat.
Yeah, I feel like it's not super common to have like that like vanilla cream whatever in a cake. And then call the cake a pie. But the name is nonsensical, but I love it.
Yeah, it's also something nobody. Now, did your mother make it or buy it for your birthday?
But she would make it. Like she would make a vanilla cake. And
That's
then
incredible.
I think she just used like, like Jello vanilla pudding.
Oh,
and,
don't
like,
put her on
put it in the
blast,
middle.
man.
I'm not a critique. It tasted great.
I think Boston cream pie is wicked awesome.
Me too.
I think that's S tier. That, man, you what a birthday! You get the Boston cream pie and some Dell's frozen lemonade.
Oh yeah,
Colby's childhood.
yeah. Wow.
And speaking of Colby's childhood, our next topic is whaling.
Oh no.
Obviously, maybe not as common anymore, but a massively important part of the history of New England.
This whole time I've been trying to figure out that one.
I love the small icons. Yeah, that's an old-timey painting of whaling.
Wow.
Basically created a whole economy in New England. And we are responsible for killing a lot of whales.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I feel like this might be a little bit old England, It's like kind of a bummer.
Yeah, but I got to play devil's advocate here. The New England of today wouldn't exist without the whale trade.
That's true. That's true. Maybe
trying to locate some fun facts, and the page for whaling is very unfun.
Not fun.
Whaling in the United States. History. New England. Yeah, man, they've sailed all around the world and hunt for these whales. And peaked in 1858. 199,000 tons of whale.
Wow.
Caught. Yeah, it's a little old England. I agree.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Speaking of seafood, Colby, why, if it isn't the traditional New England clam chowder?
Chowderhead is calling so hard.
Oh, you're not going to do that to my boy, are you?
No, I'm not. I like New England clam chowder. I don't like it as much as Colin, but I do like it a lot. We ate a lot of like the Campbell's chunky New England clam chowder from a can. That was like my grandma would always have chunky clam chowder. And we would have a can of that and like demolish some Ritz crackers or something. It's the good stuff.
Now, have you ever had Rhode Island clam chowder?
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Yeah, the three chowders ranked, like New England clam chowder is definitely the best clam chowder. Manhattan clam chowder is like okay, but like kind of worse. And then Rhode Island clam chowder is the clammiest.
Well, it's just got clear broth. It's just basically clams and water.
Right. Exactly. It's like too literal.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Now, are you because traditionally you got to have the crackers, the saltines with the soup, or the oyster crackers. I don't like putting crackers in my soup. Are you a crackers guy in your clam chowder?
Only if it's oyster crackers. I don't like putting saltines. or like any other. Like I don't like crackers, but I do like the oyster crackers in there.
They are fun. I will give you that. Yeah, I mean, the problem is Wicked Awesome is all food, and I'm like so tempted to put it up there, but I'm like kind of like concerned that although a bunch of these are food anyway. I don't know. What's your sort of? I mean, I think it's definitely above
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's this freaking guy. I don't. Man, I don't think I like it as much as Dell's and Boston cream pie.
I think that's fair. I'm okay with this freaking guy.
Yeah,
because it is another one where there are a bunch of mediocre ones.
Totally.
Like I don't think I've ever had. I guess because I just don't eat it as much. Like I don't think I've ever had like a bad Boston cream pie.
Yeah, it has a high floor, if you will. Like the bad versions of it are still like pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. Next, we have lighthouses, a thing I claim is New England, even though they're all over the world.
Do you think now? I feel like a thing New England could lay claim to is like making lighthouses tourist attractions. Like, are lighthouses tourist attractions everywhere? Is that just here?
No, I think that's everywhere because ships don't use lighthouses anymore, right? So what do they do with all of them? I would assume they are. That's got to be like a big like Airbnb thing. Like, there's got to be lighthouses you can stay in.
That's probably true. Sounds cool. I don't know what to say about this one. If I went the rest of my life and never like went to another lighthouse, I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't even think about it because I don't think about lighthouses.
I think it's the ultimate who cares. Like, I think on paper, like the history and like how they got the light to work and spin, like there's cool stuff there. Yeah. But also, I don't care. And like, if you were like, Sean, we're going to the shore and you can either go tour a lighthouse or not tour a lighthouse, I would be like, I don't care. I can take it or leave it. Like I could sit home and stare at the wall or go see a lighthouse. It's kind of the same thing. So, not thrilling, but there is something there. Is it or do we push it down to Chowderhead? I don't think it's quite Old England.
No, not Old England. I think it's Chowderhead because I would rather have a whoopie pie. I would rather have a very dry whoopie pie than go to a lighthouse.
These are very funny comparisons when you put it that way. It's like dry whoopie pie, visit a lighthouse. Just a normal day in New England.
Right. Is this next one Plymouth Rock?
Listen, you can't think of I'm not joking. I was Googling like things in New England to populate this list. Plymouth Rock, Colby. It is a rock. It's claimed to be the landing place of the Pilgrims. First identified in 1741, 121 years after they landed. It broke in half during an attempt to move it. So it's really only half the rock that's there. The date 1620 was inscribed in it in 1880. It's been moved multiple times since, so it's not even in the original location. And there's really no evidence that it is the actual rock.
Wow. So I didn't know several of those things. I feel like a common complaint about Plymouth Rock is that, like, why is it so small? I didn't know that it used to be bigger.
Yes.
It doesn't surprise me that no one knows if it's real. It does surprise me that it's been moved. I think that's kind of annoying. I think that like fully invalidates all like possible significance of this stupid thing. I've also never been to Plymouth, so I've never seen the rock. I don't know how I missed out on that, but I did.
Colby, I will tell you, I just spent a good 5-7 minutes talking about how boring and uninteresting lighthouses are. I would tour every lighthouse in America before I went back to see Plymouth. I saw Plymouth Rock. I was there.
Only
and whatever most minuscule microscopic expectations you have for something that is a rock, lower them. It is a fucking rock on the beach. It's not even a cool rock. It's a regular rock that says 16. And you're right. As soon as you learn, like, A, there's no evidence it is Plymouth Rock. B, it's been broken, moved several times. It may be one of the worst tourist attractions, maybe in America, maybe the whole world. Like, I would almost rather be like, interesting, come see this rock. Like, the fact that it's Plymouth Rock makes it almost stupider. If they were just like, oh, we have a nice rock on the beach, at least I could respect that. I have no respect. Plymouth Rock, if there was a category below Old England, you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to make a category below Old England.
It's just Plymouth Rock.
And then I'm going to title it, It's Just a Rock. And I got to move that down. Oh, shit, I changed the wrong one. All right, I'll fix this. But anyway, Plymouth Rock, you suck. Are you okay with this?
Yeah, so, you know, some New England history. Rhode Island was founded by people who were kicked out of Massachusetts by the Puritans for being the wrong religion or whatever. So, you know, screw those guys. The irony of people leaving England to escape religious persecution so they could do their own religious persecution is not lost on.
It's the American way. It's what this great nation was built on.
As you do.
Next up, I think this one actually might be controversial. I think people fall on both sides of this one. Why it is the classic rotary roundabout, maybe. I don't know what the difference is.
I feel like there was like a
roundabout.
I look this up all the time. I feel like one of them is the one that has more than one lane, and the other one is the one that is just one lane.
That makes sense. Let's see here. A modern roundabout. Let's see. Terminology. Oh, according to the dictionary, roundabout, traffic circle, road circle, and rotary are synonyms. Oh, let's see. A modern roundabout, entering traffic yields to circulating traffic. Entry traffic aims at the center of the central island and is deflected slowly around it. Upstream roadway often flares at entry, adding lanes. However, then you could be a non-conforming traffic circle. But that's a whole nother.
Non-conforming traffic circle. So when I was growing up, there were not a lot of roundabouts in Rhode Island. And so they were a thing that was like mysterious. Like people talked about them existing in Massachusetts. And so they were kind of scary and like, you know, occasionally you'd hit one and it was kind of intense because like you'd never done it before. So I didn't like them. I was a real rotary detractor. However, as I've grown as a driver and as a person and as I feel like it's more common now to have like little ones. Like, you know, like I don't know. I don't have an example of a place we both know, but I feel like they put them in like town centers and stuff now, like small town centers.
They're all over.
I sort of like it. Like it's kind of nice to not have to stop and like look or a classic small town New England experience is like there's a normal like like cross intersection, but the stop signs are configured insanely because of the way traffic normally goes through the town. Like there'll be like, one left turn that has the right of way through through all the stop signs. And I would much rather that just be a roundabout. So I don't know, like I'm pro roundabout. I think it's definitely not wicked awesome, but like maybe this freaking guy. I don't know.
Well, I totally agree with your assessment. I think large roundabouts on highways are terrifying and dangerous,
Yeah, yeah.
and small roundabouts on single lane roads in towns are genius because lights are bad and stop signs are bad, and it's a million times more efficient. Um, and they're fun to drive in. Also, the small ones,
Yes.
they're kind of neat. And Springfield's got several of them. A lot of towns around here do now, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's an upgrade. I'm going to be totally honest. If you weren't here and I was doing this solo, I would put the Rotary in Wicked Awesome. I think it's underrated. I think it's great, and I'm extraordinarily pro Rotary. One of the few things I'm very Massachusetts proud of. I'm very pro Rotary. It's something that we're known for.
Have you ever considered joining the Rotary Club?
Could you imagine I show up to the meeting and like I'm mad that they don't talk about. I thought we were talking about roads. What are you guys talking? What was this civic engagement? What the hell is this? I want to talk about the roads that go round and round. But you should stop me from putting it in Wicked Awesome. Because that would be crazy.
I don't know. You might have convinced me. Like knowing another person is also into them makes me want to put it in Wicked Awesome.
I first of all, I think it's just funny to do it, but also again, I'm like, I like Rotaries more than Fenway Park. I guess I like at least a Rotary you use year round, unlike fall foliage. I don't know that I like it more than clam chowder, but it might be close. So I think I could argue Wicked Awesome.
I think we should do it.
Oh, hell yeah. We're just throwing caution to the wind now.
Better to ask forgiveness.
This is great. We're going to get hung in the streets of New England. We got 2 left here. Next up, we have got an icon of both horror and New England, Stephen King, Maine's own Stephen King, born and raised, still lives there, and has set many of his books there. The master of horror, Stephen King.
I don't really like horror books. I'm not sure that I've ever read a Stephen King book. I do know. I think the clown in the It movie was pretty creepy, which I didn't like. I don't know. What do you think about Stephen?
Stephen King, he is awesome. I'm very pro Stephen King. By all accounts, a very nice man. Very democratic. But also, he is a wonderful writer. I've read a number of his books. They're not all for me. I agree with you. I've read some of his more neutral ones, and I've enjoyed them. I also love that he's full of anecdotes. He only ever directed one of his movies, the film Maximum Overdrive. And I don't know if you know anything about this film. It's insane. And he was basically like, I was on cocaine the entire time, and I have no memory of making that movie. And you can tell if you ever watch it. And I just think he's an interesting guy. So to me, he's not a negative on New England. I think he's always represented New England well, and has brought Maine to the forefront of novels. How far up he goes in the chart, I'm not sure.
Well, he does seem like a nice guy. Maybe he's this friggin' guy level.
Stephen King, this friggin' guy.
I think that's the guy.
That's the guy. I should put more guys on here. All right, Colby. We're on our last one here. I saved this one till last. I'm curious if it's going to be a challenge or not. But when you think of New England, boy, this was, I think, the first one I thought of when I came up with doing this. And that would be Dunkin'. Dunkin' Donuts. Do you know where Dunkin' Donuts started?
Massachusetts, right?
That's right. In the town of I forgot. But thankfully, Wikipedia.
It's actually I forgot ham.
I forgot him.
But it's pronounced I forgot him. yes, exactly.
Quincy. And the original location is still there. You can go and see the original Dunkin' Donuts back in 1948. And it has expanded now nationwide and globally. But certainly you can't go anywhere in New England without bumping into one literally everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I love Dunkin' Donuts. It's the whole reason I couldn't hack it in California because they didn't have any Dunkin' Donuts there.
But okay, so and I'm going to come right out and say it. I think Dunkin' Donuts is overrated. I'm not saying it's bad. I think it's overrated. I think certain elements are good and certain ones aren't. But I want to hear your argument. You convince me of why Dunkin' Donuts is so great.
So the problem, I feel like it's difficult to have. Well, the problem with talking about Dunkin' Donuts is like it's not great because it's good. Right. Right. It's not great because the coffee is amazing or the food is good. I feel like it's great because the coffee and food are good like for the price, but B, it's like the cultural significance of the place. Like it's a gathering place. I like it has the, like the best thing about Dunkin' Donuts is like you learn how to Dunkin' Donuts. Like you can't just not knowing anything about Dunkin' Donuts. Like you can't go into Dunkin' Donuts and get like
this is a selling point.
A good coffee. Yes, this is like all great things are this way. It requires like time and effort.
This is such a New England argument.
Yes. Like right, like being, like there's the what do you call it? Like, you don't order your coffee off the menu. Everyone has their coffee order. And like you pick how many sugars and
you get a double or you get a 2 and 2.
Right.
I mean, I don't think their restaurants are particularly welcoming. I will be honest. I never want to sit in a Dunkin' Donuts. In fact, I want to go through the drive-through. I don't think the coffees taste particularly good, even when you do. The fact you have to customize them isn't encouraging. I think the donuts are fine. I think they have the worst bagels.
Their bagels aren't great. Have you tried their English muffins though? Their
English muffins are very good, and also the sourdough bread is good. Huh. They do a sandwich on sourdough bread with 2 eggs in it. It's very good. But their food is very dry. All of their like hot food is the driest, like whoopie pie level dry. And I don't want to, because I do think they do some things well. And listen, I certainly go to Dunkin' Donuts plenty, but again, I don't know, maybe I'm yearning for an older time when Dunkin' Donuts was like good, but I do feel it is more of a cult. And by the way, I feel the same way about Starbucks, where I think it is a cultural cachet. Like their coffee's fine. I don't think it's like, it's not bad. It's not great. It's a cultural, maybe I'm just unhappy in everything in life. I'm not sure. But I think to call it an iconic, I mean, if the point is you just want like drinkable cheap coffee, go to a gas station. Like I don't know. Dunkin' Donuts is an odd spot to me where it's like it's there and I go all the time and I don't know why. And maybe that's what's great about it.
I think it's like, I wonder if there's an element of, gambling involved. Like, I feel like you go to Dunkin' Donuts and like once in a while you get an amazing coffee. Like once in a while you go and it's like, wow, this is peak Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. This is awesome. But it doesn't happen every time.
Well, and that's it. And the thing about Dunkin' Donuts, and I will give Starbucks credit, they're pretty consistent. Dunkin's are all over the map. And every town has like 6, and 2 are good, 2 are like okay, and then 2 are like no one goes to that Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, and that's a whole, I feel like that's just another layer on the, learning how to order the coffee. Like, is like learning which Dunkin' Donuts are the good ones.
I drive by the one closest to my office to go to one further away because that's the good Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but I used to, when we were in college and I had that internship in downtown Poughkeepsie, like I used to drive out of my way like 5 minutes to go to this slightly better Dunkin' Donuts. So I'd have to get up earlier to go to work. It's totally worth it.
Yeah. Maybe it is just the intangibles. And I will say their iced coffee is better than their hot coffee.
Oh,
I think of everything they do, the iced coffee they do pretty well. That may be the signature. The problem is it's in New England, so
that's why that's a joke, like drinking iced coffee.
And people do it all year round, which is crazy to me.
I do it.
You're too New England. This was a mistake. Colby, where are we going to put Dunkin' Donuts on the chart?
I would accept if you're feeling.
I think we can go higher than that. I just wouldn't put it wicked awesome. I think that's pushing it. I would go with this friggin' guy.
All right. I mean, it's it feels.
I would say I like it as much as I like horror author Stephen King.
There you go. I think I like it better, but I don't dislike Stephen King particularly.
I'm just impressed I got you to rank Rotaries over Dunkin' Donuts. That's a win for me.
Like 2 years ago, I don't think that would have happened. But
well, is that because Rotaries are on the way up or Dunkin's on the way down?
I think Rotaries are on the way up. I think they've really won me over. I can think of a couple spots right off the top of my head. I would love to put a Rotary.
They're putting one up the road for me here at a very dangerous intersection. So
yeah,
they're working.
Right.
Wow, what a list. We did it. We ranked everything. Looking at this, Colby, anything standing out that you're not comfortable with? Did you think we hit it pretty well?
I'm not comfortable with. That's a good question.
I feel good. I actually think we almost nailed it. I mean, maybe you could argue one or two things, but I think overall I feel pretty good.
No, I feel good. I feel bad for mooses. Because I feel like I just don't know them.
Lack of experience.
Right. Like maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. I've just never met one. Yeah, there's nothing looking at this list, there's nothing that I feel nothing is giving me a twinge in my stomach or anything. I don't feel any guilt.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, listen, Colby, we're at the end here. You can go crack open your Dells, have a slice of Boston cream pie. What a winning combination. Thank you for indulging me. I definitely am going to put a screenshot of this in Slack, and when the next time the three of us are on the show, I want Dan's opinion and see if he disagrees, because he's kind of a New England guy too. Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, that's true. He is from Connecticut,
which is, let's be honest, the worst state in New England. But I still think his opinion is valuable. So he's a smart guy. So we'll get his thoughts. But we're going to wrap it up here. How much fun. Thanks, everybody out there, for joining us for this. If you've got opinions, please tell us we're morons. You can email us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. We do read your emails. You can comment on our YouTube page on the video for this episode. Available there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Of course, subscribe wherever you get podcasts for the audio as well. You can yell at us on your phone. We won't hear you, but it might make you feel better. And we're going to wrap it up here. We'll be back next time. On behalf of Colby, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you next time for another great episode of Don't Panic. Very nice. Well, I hope that was fun. I thought that was fun.
I did too. I'm really pleased that we added a new category for Plymouth Rock.
You know what? I put it on there just so we could dunk on it. That was the whole idea. I was like, and I was worried, like, for a split second, I'm like, maybe Colby really loves The Rock, but no.
No. I was trying to think of other things that I would put in the list. Funny town name pronunciations came to mind.
Oh, sure. Well, I was going to do like Boston accent, but there are lots of fun regional dialects.
Right.
I was going to like skiing, but you can really do that anywhere. It's hard because a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of food ones. That was because I was like, oh, like apple cider donuts, I think is like a great, or apple cider is a great one. But we just had so many food items.
Right. What's that other place that's not Plymouth? Sturbridge Village.
Oh, sure. I'd love to do a spinoff where we just do New England landmarks. Because you got a lot of places on the Cape throughout the state, up to the man on the mountain in New Hampshire.